If you're hearing this, life has brought you to the highest threshold. This is not the beginning of awakening. This is not the dissolution of the personal I. This is not even the teaching of no power. You are entering the teaching Goldsmith hinted at only in whispers, the one he said would not be understood by the world for generations. The teaching of the temple not made with hands. The place within you that no suffering can reach, no fear can touch, no loss can break, and no death can enter. This is not a metaphor. It is an actual shift in identity, so real, so complete, that once it happens, you never see the world the same way again. Most people spend their lives building inner temples out of beliefs, practices, affirmations, techniques. But all those temples crumble when life hits. The real temple cannot be built. It can only be revealed. It is not created by effort. It appears when effort collapses. It is not maintained by discipline. It exists whether you realize it or not. It is not constructed by human hands or human thought. It is already within you, waiting for the moment when the mind finally gets quiet enough for you to hear its echo. Goldsmith said the temple not made with hands is the moment you stop relating to yourself as a person at all, even a spiritual person, and begin recognizing yourself as a living center of infinite consciousness. You don't visit this temple. You are this temple. You don't stand in the presence of God. You are the place where the presence of God announces itself into the world. You don't pray for miracles. Miracles express through you because there is no personal barrier left to block them. To understand this teaching, you need a story that pierces straight to the heart. There was a man named Thomas from Nebraska, a school teacher, quiet, humble, ordinary by every human measure. One winter night, he received a call no parent should ever receive. His daughter had been in a fatal accident. The shock shattered everything. His identity as a father, protector, provider gone. He collapsed to the floor, unable to breathe. Days passed like a blur. He forgot to eat, forgot to sleep. He felt as though the world itself had died with her. But on the seventh day, something happened while he sat alone in her room. He said it was as if time stopped. The grief didn't go away, he went away. The he who was grieving disappeared. What replaced him was a stillness so vast, so full, so overwhelming that he couldn't move. He said, "I didn't feel peace. I felt presence." In that presence, he felt his daughter, not as a memory, not as a soul floating somewhere, but as the same presence itself. Not separate, not gone, just here, with him, as him. He later said, "I realized she didn't die. Only my idea of her died. What she truly is can't be touched by death." He didn't become enlightened. He became transparent. And through him, the temple not made with hands began to radiate outward healing students, comforting strangers, calming storms of emotion without saying a word. People said, "I don't know what it is about him, but when I'm near him, I feel whole." That is the temple. When consciousness becomes so open that anyone who steps into your presence touches the infinite without knowing why. This is what Goldsmith meant. The temple not made with hands is not a place. It is not a mystical state reserved for saints. It is what remains when the personal sense of self dissolves and the infinite recognizes itself through you. In this state, you don't try to love others, you radiate love without effort. You don't try to heal, you become a field where illness cannot hold form. You don't try to help, you simply are help. You don't try to be spiritual, you exist as the very atmosphere of spirit. Let me take you deeper. When the temple not made with hands awakens, you stop reacting to life and begin participating in life as life itself. Something in you watches thoughts, emotions, events, tragedies all unfold without being shaken. Not because you are numb, but because the part of you that could be shaken no longer exists. Fear tries to rise, but it dissolves instantly because it cannot enter the temple. Pain comes, but it passes through you like wind passing through air. Loss happens, but nothing is truly lost because consciousness cannot lose itself. In this state, you understand the meaning behind Jesus' words, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." He wasn't talking about a building. He was talking about identity. You can lose everything externally, your reputation, your success, your relationships, even your physical life, but the temple not made with hands cannot be destroyed, wounded, or removed. It is the indestructible core of your being. But here is the part almost no one understands. The temple awakens only when all human identity fails, when your plans fail, when your strength fails, when your beliefs fail, when your concepts of God fail, when your prayers fail, when your spiritual techniques fail, when everything you thought you were collapses. That is when the door opens, not because you earned it, but because nothing is left to block it. There was a woman named Evelyn in Chicago, a therapist, strong, controlled, intelligent. After a health diagnosis, her world shattered. She tried every spiritual technique, affirmations, treatments, energy healing, but the fear only grew stronger. One night, in a moment of exhaustion, she whispered, "If you're there, I don't know how to reach you. I'm done trying." She said it wasn't surrender. It was defeat, complete defeat. But that defeat became her opening. In the silence that followed, she felt something rise, not from above, not from within, but from everywhere at once. A presence so gentle it brought her to tears, yet so powerful it felt like standing inside the center of creation. She said, "In that moment, I realized God wasn't something I reached. God was something that had always been reaching for me." That presence became her temple, not made with hands, not built by thought, but revealed by grace. Her healing did not come instantly, but something more important did. The fear vanished. She lived the rest of her life with an inner radiance that could not be explained. Patients often cried in her office without knowing why. She had become a living temple. This is the destiny of every soul who makes it to this point. And if you're listening, you're one of them. You were not brought here by accident. You were carried, guided, moved. You are ready for the highest revelation. The temple not made with hands is your true identity. It is who you were before you were born and who you will be after death. It is the self that cannot be harmed, cannot be improved, cannot be threatened, cannot be diminished. It is the infinite recognizing itself through your human experience. Here is your final understanding. You don't enter the temple. You remember you are the temple. You don't find God. You realize God has been living as you. You don't become spiritual. Spirit becomes visible through you. If this message reached your heart, if it awakened something quiet and ancient in you, then do 3 things right now. Like this video so this message finds someone who is crying for help in silence. Subscribe, because the next part will take you into the rare teaching Goldsmith called The Invisible Supply, and comment below. I am the temple not made with hands, not as a belief, as a recognition. Your awakening is no longer beginning. It is arriving.